In this video, we're going to talk about a really important pattern symbol called a notch. A notch is either going to be diamond shape or triangle shape. It could be either one. And they're always going to be on the cut line. So you'll notice I have my cut line, this black line all the way around, and I have different triangles and in one case a diamond around. And those are all notches. You'll also notice right here I have two that are next to each other. This one is a notch. This one is not a notch because if you look close, it's not on my cut line. So it is actually just a pattern marking. It means something else. So it is not a notch. The purpose of my notches is to tell me where two pieces of fabric are going to line up when sewing. So it's always going to be on the edge of the fabric because it's showing me where to line up that fabric on the edge when I am sewing. Sometimes I have single notches and sometimes I have double notches, and in rare cases there are even triple notches. A single notch indicates that at least one of the two pieces or more pieces of fabric that are being lined up is going to be a front piece. So if we look at these right here, this is the bodice back side, this is the bodice front side, and those two seams would line up with each other, and like so that would be the seam on the side of a shirt, right? So they're going to line up at the top and they're going to line up at the bottom, but this notch is also telling me that they're going to line up here as well. So when I'm pinning these together, I would pin them at the top, at the bottom, and at the notch first before I pin anywhere else, because I know that those 3 points should definitely line up. Sometimes I have double notches. Double notches mean that the two pieces that are lining up together are both going to be back pieces. So this is going to be the back of the sleeve lining up with the bodice back, or the back of a dress skirt or like jumper or some pants or something are lining up with the bodice back here. So that's what my two notches indicate. On rare occasions, there are triple notches, and those usually have some sort of special indication that's not about front or back. Now let's talk about some of the ways you can mark your notches. There's two ways to do it. One way to do it is if when you cut out your pattern piece, you just cut a little triangle cutting out like that, so you can see on your pattern piece easily where that notch is. Another way to do it, which is my preferred way to do it, is actually when you just cut that notch straight off, and then you just go in and you do a little tiny clip just to the tip of the triangle like that. So you can see this here, just like so. So that way I can see exactly where the notch is. This can be a little bit tricky to get accurate all the time. Like you can see I'm kind of off on my notch right here. I go a little bit further than it. This is a lot more accurate because I can just cut straight to the point and I can see that very easily. I normally only cut about 1/4 inch in, but you should pay attention to what your seam allowance is, because if you're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, then you probably want to stick with an 1/8 inch or something a little bit smaller. But those are our two ways of cutting notches, and that was a great introduction to notches.